Good evening. I'm at the gym, as you can see on the treadmill, trying to get my body back right. Trying to look like I looked when I was in my early 20s. And speaking of my early 20s, I want to take y'all back to what was going on with me in my early 20s. From, like 18, well, really when I got out of high school, I went to the military for a little while. I went to the Marines. And didn't stay there long. It was during the first Gulf War. And I think we invaded Saudi Arabia. Saddam Hussein was invading Kuwait. And I went to the Marines. As soon as I got there, to get me in, they was telling me about how wonderful life was gonna be, all the things, the beautiful places I was gonna visit and see. And how much money I was gonna make, the great life I was gonna live, right? As soon as I get in, they talk about shipping us off the wall. So that didn't work out too well for me. So I'll explain what happened with that in another video. But right now we're talking about something I want to do right now, which is apologize. I want to apologize to my hood, as they say, which is short for neighborhood. But because of something I was participating in the early 90s, we turned the neighborhood into the hood. And I did some things that I'm not proud of, but I want to make amends for it, starting out by just apologizing to my neighborhood for the damage and the destruction that I caused, that I took part in. Now, I think it's a scripture or something that reads, as a child, I thought like a child, but when you become a man, you must let go of childish things and think as a man. So I'm talking about some things that I did when I thought as a child. And honestly, I didn't know. I really did. When I look back on it, I don't understand, or I didn't understand the damage that I was causing, the harm that I was causing, the destruction that I was causing. I didn't get it. I didn't mean no harm. I'm not that kind of person. Anybody that knew me when I was growing up, throughout school or whatever, I was an A student, honor roll. I was pretty much a nerd. I surprised a lot of people when they saw the lifestyle that I was living. And that lifestyle was I went from a straight A student, good kid, good parent. I came from a single parent household, but overall my mother, she went out of her way to raise me right, with Jesus and all that stuff, right? Which I had a hard time believing in it, but she tried. And so I went from being an A student, honor roll, pretty much a nerd all throughout school. Quiet, I was a little short, fat kid, shy, low self-esteem, low confidence, all that come along with being a little short kid that got teased a lot, right? So when I got out of high school, like I said, I went to the military for a while, came home, and I was around 18 or 19, I ain't stay long. So I got me a little job working at a little truck leasing place called Disillusionment in Mobile, Alabama, right? And I was washing cars. It was like 1990, no, 91. I was just cleaning out the car, the rental car or whatever for the next rental. And I have to walk in the morning, like 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I had to be to work at 7. I had to walk like 5 miles to work, 5 miles back, because I didn't have a car. We didn't have a car. So I would walk like 5 o'clock in the morning down pretty much a bad neighborhood, drug-infested neighborhood. And it would be like gay guys riding all time of night trying to pick me up. Thought I was out there, prostituting or whatever myself, but really I was just walking to work. So I had to deal with all that, right? And I was like, man, I'm tired of this shit. And I would get my check after working full time, all week long. I would get my check, and it would be like $130 after taxes. A full-time job now. And here I am, I'm living with my mom. We struggling. And barely making it, what I'm saying? And people coming and threatening, I'm reading letters where talking about the life's gonna be disconnected and all that type of stuff, right? So I ain't know nothing about all that. Like, what can I do? This little money I'm making, this all I know to do is work. And this ain't doing it. So I was walking home one day from work, and a friend of mine was sitting out in the corner, up on the hill. We had like a little hill. I had to walk, and our neighborhood was like downhill, uphill, like that, right? So he was sitting up on the corner, and he had a big knot of money, and he was just counting. And I was like, man, where you get all that money from? He ain't have no job. I was the only one working. All of my little friends, my little neighborhood, I was the only one working, right? So I was like, man, where you get all that money from? And he was like, he got up, walked across the street, in some bushes, came back with a matchbox. Opened up the matchbox, it looked like little white pieces of soap in the matchbox. I was like, man, what is that? He was like, man, it's crack. I was like, crack? Oh, I heard about, it was just really going around. It was always in California, but it was just now circulating around the world, around the country rather. And we should hear it on the news, this new drug is taking America by storm. Crack cocaine, blah, 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 but I never seen none of that stuff. I didn't come up around no drugs and nothing like that. So I wasn't that type of guy. But I was tired of struggling, watching my mom struggle. Walking to work, 5 o'clock in the morning, gay guys trying to pick me up thinking I'm prostituting myself. Here I am, 19 years old, and grown men trying to pick me up. I ain't know nothing like that would happen. So, and get my check at the end of the week, it's bad over $100. So he counted all of that money. I'm like, man, how do I get some of that? That's all I need to see. I said, he said, man, I made, it was like $1,500 he was counting. He said, man, I made this today. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, I just made this today. And I was like, man, put me on, show me what to do. So he took me to a guy, spent $50 my first time. And I played around with, doing that $50 here, spending 50 or 100 or whatever. I was playing around with it, learning the ropes or whatever. And after about a good month, when I finally caught on to it, I ain't worked no more for probably about the next 10 years. And we took literally a nice family-oriented neighborhood and turned it into $1 million spot. And the neighbors was like, couldn't believe that we was doing that. Because we was good kids. We came up good kids. They couldn't believe. And I'm sitting here looking at people, women, prostituting their bodies out for $10. I'm looking at pastors, preachers, so-called men of God, dropping the prostitutes off. They all up in it. That's why I have issues with church now and religious people and pastors and all that. That's why I've seen too much. Being in that lifestyle showed me a side of people that I didn't know exist. So I would see pastors, well-known pastors in our area, tricking, paying the little prostitutes $10, $15, and then getting on the pulpit Sunday morning rather. And that kind of killed my belief in religion. So if I name some of these pastors and people in Mobile know them, but I ain't gonna do no names between them and God. It ain't my business. I'm telling you my story of what I'm apologizing for what I did. And like I said, I'm just apologizing to my neighborhood. I'm apologizing to the hood for the people that I hurt, including myself. I hurt myself because I wasted years of my life for nothing. All the pretty cars. I used to walk in the club, and me and my friend, my clique crew, whatever you want to call it. We walk in the club, the DJ calling our name over the microphone. The way that made me feel like I was somebody. That I had already had low, I told you I had low self-esteem and confidence throughout my childhood. So now here I am. I walk in the club, they calling my name out in the intercom, and everybody looking at us. Everybody trying to be up under us. Everybody trying to be cool with us. I wasn't even drinking at the time. I'm in the club buying cases of beer for everybody. Just balling. So I thought I was balling. I wasn't doing nothing but wasting my life away, throwing my life down the drain. And cars and rims and paint jobs and all that dumb shit, the same shit these youngsters are doing now, that we talk bad about them for. Well, I don't, because I done been there. I done the same thing with the stupid shit. $1,000 outfits on, $5,000 paint jobs and rims and all that stupid shit. And tearing up my neighborhood, destroying families for this. Started out just trying to help my mama. That's all I wanted to do. Started out helping my mama. But the devil, Satan, the enemy, whatever you want to call it, had blinded. I was a kid. Didn't know no better. Didn't have nobody to say, hey man, don't do that, bro. I'm thinking I'm grown. I'm thinking I'm knowing something. I'm doing the right thing. I'm supposed to help my mama. Yeah, I'm supposed to help my mama, but not like that. So, through the grace of God, I never got busted. I've been robbed a few times, been shot, and been in presence of some of the most dangerous people probably in America. Straight killers, robbers, you name it, I've been around them. Pimps, hoes, prostitutes, I know them all. So even to this day, I go somewhere, people still know me. I ain't been out there in the streets in years. People still know me from back then. And that ain't nothing I'm proud of because I ain't got none of that stuff now. I'm just looking back over like, man, what was I thinking? I was throwing bricks at the penitentiary, as they say. And I'm just looking at how, now that I'm a grown man, and I love people, I love helping people, trying to do the right thing. Like, who was that? I don't even know that guy. Like, who the hell was that? That would sell something, would do something like that for money, and the destruction that it caused. And at the time, I didn't think nothing of it. Not that I'm a low-down, dirty person. I didn't think nothing. All I'm thinking is, I'm just trying to make a living. I'm just trying to feed my family, so I thought. But after a while, it wasn't about feeding the family no more. It was about power now. The power that you got, the prestige. People be wondering, like after you done made all that money, why you can't quit now? It ain't about the money no more. It don't matter how they had all kinds of money. It ain't about the money no more. It becomes about the power. It becomes about people kissing your ass. The baddest, the prettiest women doing whatever you want them to do. Married women with good husbands, with good jobs, college educated, fraternity boys and frat boys, all them guys. I'm knocking all their wives down. And I'm just a drug dealer. I'm a nobody for real. So that showed me a side of women that I didn't like. To where I'm like, why? I used to ask some of them, why you cheating on your husband? And they be telling me how good he is, how he take care of her, pay all the bills with her. But she would tell me, I'm excited. He bored. He can't fuck. They just ain't compatible, but you still with him because he a good provider. That showed me a side of women, man. I'm like, I still struggle with that today. And hold on. That showed me a side of women that I hate that I saw. But these would be nurses, nurse practitioners, librarians, upscale women. I ain't talking about what I call hood rats. I'm talking about, I ain't never liked hood rats. I like the upscale women. And women that had their own. I ain't one of them guys that was intimidated by a woman that had her own. I want them kind of women. And it would be educated women with all kinds of degrees and stuff like that dealing with me. And I'm just a drug dealer. I was a good looking drug dealer. But that's all I was. I ain't have no future. No, I had a lot of temporary money, a lot of temporary material stuff. And but they would cheat on their husbands and stuff with me, man. And good dudes. I used to see them around, good family men with the kids and shit like that. And your wife just straight slutting me out. And I'm like, God damn, man, life a bitch. Then you die, as they say. But back to my story of finally getting to a point where, I lost a couple of friends to the street through, getting murdered, robbed, and killed. I had got to a point where all I was doing was selling and getting high. I got to a point where that's all I wanted to do all day long. Didn't leave the neighborhood. We were in a cubicle box, really. Didn't leave the neighborhood for nothing. All kinds of money wouldn't go nowhere outside this little box. We would take a break, like a lunch break, for drug dealers. Well, all we would do was get in one of our pretty cars, go get some weed, ride around in the little 4-block radius, letting everybody see us, looking at everybody, they see us ride. They go to Patton Avenue, boy, just ride around smoking, and then back to the hood. No traveling, no none of that. Just stacking money just to go to the club, tearing up the neighborhood. So I'm not proud of that, man. But it's just something that I look around, I'm like, damn, look at these guys now, I'm like, I used to do that. Me, a good guy. So I understand how good people can make bad choices. So that's why I don't judge nobody about nothing they done did wrong. I done lived a life that a lot of people have never lived. And I live to tell about it. That's part of what I'm doing now. I guess it would be part one of an episode of a series like this. I don't know, depending on how y'all receive it. But I just want to, like I said, I want to apologize to my hood. And I ride through that now. It ain't like that no more. Nice neighborhood like it should be. God cleaned all that up. And I paid for my wrongdoing, my bad deeds. I paid for it. And I learned my lesson. That's something I'll never do again. I wouldn't care if I was broke and 4 sisters walking around in church. I'll never do that again. Nothing like that, come out breaking no law, nothing hurting nobody. If I can't get it the right way, I don't want it. I ain't proud of it. Ain't nothing I want if I gotta do wrong to get it. So I just want to run that story by y'all, man. Like I said, apologize to my hood, my neighborhood. It's back to being a neighborhood now. And just tell them something about me that a lot of people probably didn't know. That I was one of the biggest criminals in Mobile at one time. And now I'm not. And how anybody can change. Anybody can change. So I'm gonna stay on this side of the track, man, try to find my way to the top, but the right way. And as a local rapper once said, I had the right cookbook, but I was using the wrong recipe of trying to be successful. So now I'm using the right recipe. And I'm gonna see y'all at the top. Y'all have a blessed day.